So let's look at literacy and education. That's one of our areas of focus, and literacy connects is our theme today. So I'll be talking about different literacies, including resources that you can use and explore later on. Then we're going to go out into some breakout rooms to discuss what you think might be most useful to you, and which literacy project that you feel has been most impactful for your club. Also, you might like to talk about what kinds of literacy your club might be able to support. So the basic education and literacy, this is the explanation that they give to us. And when you look at it, you can begin to see how all the areas, all the basic education and literacy areas do impact and can impact on the other 5 areas of focus in Rotary. And I'd like to mention that September is Basic Education and Literacy Month. And so that's typically when we have activities planned. I always found that September came quickly and it was hard to get a cohesive program for September. So it's good to know that now and begin planning. Also, what's good to know is that it is September, and that with our new incoming presidents and getting our budgets ready for them, that make sure we include literacy activities so that we can have activities throughout the year that are budgeted for. So what is literacy? In the last at least 30 years, literacy has changed from reading and writing. Literacy means now having skills to participate in one's society. And now we have to not only be able to read and write and do math and communicate orally, we have to be able to use technology as well. And then the world opens to us. So looking at foundational skills, basic reading and writing, some children have never seen a grown-up pick up a book and read. So when a Rotarian comes into the school, a grown-up from the community comes into the school and reads to a child, it's impactful. It shows that reading is of value. On the right-hand side, I've included the why read 30 minutes a day, because it illustrates the importance of reading and might be something that you might use with other people to help them buy into the idea of literacy at an early age. I'm going to be mentioning the names of some clubs and some of their projects, because then you can go to these, if you're interested in what they're doing, and they've already developed some expertise in this area, that you'll be able to connect with them. For example, we have here the Rotary Club of Bainbridge Island that has an extremely comprehensive program. It began as a project to support early literacy, so students would be at reading level at grade 4. And so they began with some early intervention. And now it's grown into a program that grows a massive program, and it goes all year long. And they've partnered with many other groups. Tacoma, Sunrise Club of Tacoma sponsors the Telling of Your Ocean Story. And they ask that the students do this in poetry or in film or graphics. The Pacific Ocean unites this district. So it's a good fit for us to have anything to do with the oceans. Last year at DTvZ, we had the Rotary Club of Duncan has been doing a public speaking contest since 1982. And that's for elementary, junior, and secondary students. And if you're thinking of doing something like this, this would be a club that would have a lot of advice for you. In the Comox Valley, the Rotary Club sent representatives to sit at the Comox Valley Rotary Literacy Roundtable. And we sponsored many different events, but it was great because we were able to share different kinds of expertise, and that might not be in just one club. At DTA, we had Corinne Gregory last year present her book, Character Counts. She takes a detailed look at the components of the 4-way test. individually and then as a whole. So this is a fantastic resource for planning a writing or speaking competition, because the four-way test is actually quite involved when you look at it. So by segmenting it, you can come up with some interesting and useful topics that aren't too abstract for students. The Rotary Club of Duncan hosts a yearly spelling bee, and it's become a friendly competition, actually a friendly rivalry between organizations in the community. They want the bragging rights for winning. And so if you are interested, the people from the Rotary Club of Duncan, I think Trish was one that gave me quite a bit of information on that. And that's a great way to support literacy and raise money as well. This is a massive project and very involved, but it illustrates how we can collaborate with not just people in our district, but with other districts as well. Robert Cairns from District 5020, Rotary Club of Port Orchard, and Judith Whitaker-Ginn from District 5030 and their team collaborated to collect, warehouse, sort, and ship 2 40-foot containers of books to Kenya. They had to go through customs in Africa and Kenya. It was a massive project, took months and many hands-on. But the end result is that they were able to build 14 libraries in different schools. So there are all kinds of literacy. The ones we've looked at support more the functional literacy. But I don't know if you recognize this sign. It's the map of the IKEA store. And it's something, a kind of literacy that doesn't work for me. But the founder of IKEA was severely learning disabled, and print meant next to nothing to him. If you notice when you put your furniture together, IKEA furniture together, it's not words that they use, it's pictures. And that's the reason he just found it more effective. I find this map confusing. I don't have this kind of literacy. I've always had to ask somebody to find my way out of that store. But it just shows that somebody that suffered a disability and he used different kinds of literacy to address his literacy challenge. His instructions became visual, not print. And the furniture lines he named after the Swedish towns. So one kind of literacy that we can look at as Rotarians to support in our community is physical literacy. So physical literacy is about developing fundamental skills with the end goal being that you are physically active for life. You may not go to the Olympics, but you will be physically active for life. So why is this important? Well, 2/3 of our population is overweight or obese. This includes people of all ages. The consequence of that is severe. Not only is quality of life compromised, but it also impacts the budgets of our province and state directly. The numbers are staggering and they're continuing to go up. So as Rotarians, as we support and address these major concerns, they become helpful. Some resources that we can use, either within our own clubs or within our community, are the Aspen Institute has Project Play, and Active for Life has activities for raising physically literate kids. This Rotary Club is in the process of developing a story walk. So now you're supporting foundational literacy, but you're also supporting physical literacy. And it's a fabulous family activity. Health and safety literacy is another one that's important for our society. This is a box of children's medication. And on this box, it tells us how much, when, and under specific conditions to administer this medication. Can you tell how much I should give to my 3.5-year-old? and when. It can be overwhelming. And just imagine someone who struggles with foundational literacy and numeracy, struggling with this. Over and under medication is a serious problem, not only for children, for adults as well. And that impacts our health costs as well. So foundational skills and numeracy skills are critical for understanding the information on food and medicine labels on products that we use in our homes. So these are examples of how we can support health and safety. The posters I mentioned here are available from International Labor Organization. We can help sponsor those, spread them throughout the community. This group sponsored a youth video contest to bring health and safety awareness to youth. So not only were they educating the youth making the video as the youth were investigating what they were going to put in their video, but they were also educating their viewers. Another resource that might be useful, you have games and activities for the workplace. There's printables, a safety slogan scramble. This could almost be the same kind of concept as a spelling bee, where you have competitions for the different safety awards. Also, December is Disease Prevention and Treatment Month. So that might be a month that you would like to put in some literacy activities based on health and safety. Another type of literacy that's important nowadays is information and media literacy. The issue of telling fact from fiction is becoming increasingly difficult as we are exposed to sites that cleverly appeal to emotions and personal beliefs. Each click is paid for, and disinformation is increasing with each click. 40 years ago, the main focus of information literacy was research. Now we talk about information and media literacy. We need to effectively access, evaluate, and create messages in a variety of ways and on many different platforms. As Rotarians, we can have activities that inform our club members or sponsor activities in our community, helping to distinguish fact from disinformation. Here are two sites that offer a lot of activities. The only thing is sometimes we get into politics when we're talking about disinformation. And so as Rotarian, how do we circumnavigate politics? And Mental Floss that I've listed here has a lot of smart, funny content that you can use to talk about and teach about disinformation. The difference between disinformation and misinformation is misinformation is just getting it wrong, which I know I've done. Disinformation is purposely misleading people. So this is a poster. Rotarians, we can sponsor these kinds of things and have them in our community, along with supporting sessions talking about them, analyzing them. Media Smarts and Facebook Canada have put together a program called Reality Check, and there's lots of videos and tip sheets and activities that you can use with your club or organization as well. These are some fact-checking sites and plugins, and also for visual verification as well. So you can have fun with that, putting in some things that you think are a fact and seeing what comes up. So visual literacy I've mentioned, but it is how we read images. This image, at first I called it a photo, but it's really just an image that does not represent what really happened. So people have talked about visual literacy for quite a long time, but when hoaxes like this started to come through emails and circulate more widely than the National Geographic hoax with the pyramids being put together too close. Now, with the way things are shared, all these misinformation or disinformation types of visual images spread very quickly. So how do we know how to read these? Skilled photographers can manipulate us to believe the story we are seeing is the absolute truth. This is a chart that I found that I actually tried working with a bit, and this offers sites that inform us about disinformation. And some sites offer videos that you could share with your club. I watched one to do with Facebook here, and ended up being redirected to Reddit, but it was a video on face recognition on Facebook and how it can be used to gather information on people. They can actually gather every single comment that you wrote on Facebook. Actually, watching the video was informative, but it was also, I would say, very frightening to know what they can do nowadays. But there are different sites here that you can explore with your club. Financial literacy is another one. It's important as ever, perhaps even more so with what's been going on. The statistics give us reason to pay attention to it. And so here are some family financial literacy activities that are free and downloadable. Have your club's financial people come in and do sessions as well. There's a lot of expertise within our own clubs. October is Economic and Community Development Month, so that's a good month to put in some financial literacy activities. They don't have to be the whole program. They can just be a fun activity, a short video, but basically inviting people to look at that type of literacy. LitRag is Literacy Rotarian Action Group. So this is an action group to alleviate illiteracy that any of us can join. And they have major projects going on throughout the whole world. And they also are now partnering with the Rotary actors, which can make it far more interesting too. So now it's your turn. And at the beginning, I asked you to perhaps think about your most impactful literacy themed project that you've had in your club, and what types of literacy activities do you see your club members participating in? Literacy connects, and by talking with each other, you begin to get some really concrete ideas about what you might do with your clubs, and also by looking at some of the resources here and thinking about, our themed months, and just picking one or two activities to begin with and engaging your club in literacy through fun activities or some, serious programs.
Anita, I was explaining the 1000 by 5 program, and for those of you, the other 3 people in our group, if you're interested in it, Anita was one of the founders of it. So you can contact Anita for more information.
Yep.
We have to be very close people. We're both married to each other.
All right, so we just have a few minutes left, and I just want to say that, these have been really changing and challenging times that we've been working through, and there are Rotary clubs that did have literacy-themed projects and took time to make their application for the awards. So I'd like to celebrate these clubs here, at least. I know other clubs did projects as well, but these ones did send in the award application. So these clubs listed here participated in at least 5 literacy themed activities, and then 2 clubs actually had 50 or more. So the Rotary Club of Bainbridge, I already mentioned that they have a very comprehensive program that is going to be going on for years. They're in their 4th year. So perhaps you'd like to talk to them if you really want and see that your club has that ability for a major project, or at least some segments of it. And the Rotary Club of Souk, Jean Lister is the expert at always finding every activity, some money, or some aspect of literacy.
Yes.
She is a great resource for that. But just really well done for everyone. The awards will be hopefully sent when our DG goes to visit the clubs, and he can present the awards at that time as he does his visits, hopefully throughout the year. I will be updating the list of projects. So we have on our website a list of projects, and this has been growing for many years, from Judy Henderson's year and now into my year as well. So I'll be adding to those, and this is how you access it. It's you'll be getting this PowerPoint, so you can kind of check it out through this way, but you go through our Rotary5020.org, member login, what we do, literacy, and then there's different aspects of literacy, and there's lists of literacy projects, big and small. So hopefully there'll be a fit there for you.
My club, Ladysmith, is not listed there, but we are working only with one project, but there are 5 or 6 of us reading, or were reading, once a week in grade 3, grade 2, grade 1 classrooms. We've been doing it for a few years. But of course, with the closing of schools, we haven't been able to do that. And I'm just wondering if there is any other imaginative thing that a Rotary Club can do in the reading line for kids during this shutdown. And it's going to continue partially, of course, now for the rest of this school year. Any thoughts, if we have time?
We have a couple of ideas that we have started work on in Bainbridge. So one of them is putting school book bags together so that we will have materials that we can send home with the students they identify in need in kindergarten in the fall. And there'll be some hands-on games, flashcards, and what we call small picture books that parents can easily use. And for the summer project, we've researched the local public library systems around us, and we are trying to put together a one-page paper that a parent can access online. The libraries actually reading, there are online programs to the students during the week, so that they'll be able to hook their student up to get someone reading to them using books that both have above like a little cloud above the book saying, here's the words, but they're also hearing the words. It's not as good as one-on-one, but we know we've got to do something.
I know that there are a lot of computer programs for kids that they can use while their school is on hold. But we also have schools where the students don't have computers in their homes. So we sponsored backpacks with print material, so that that they could still have the same kind of learning resources. And that's the Rotary Club of Courtenay. So if you'd like to talk about that, just give us a call or email us, and we can talk about that a bit more. And Bainbridge has a lot of projects too that run throughout the summer as well, don't you? Well, I'm going to have to close the session. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you for believing in literacy and education. It makes a big difference in many people's worlds. And try to remember to have fun with literacy as well. Take good care. Thank you.